Hello and welcome back. Now I know we spent a fair bit of time with the 1974 catalogue last week, but we're just jumping back to it for a moment to have a look at this operating accessory or wagon operating side tipping car set R.345. Now that originally came along in 63, or was announced in 63, and was produced throughout the 60s till 69. And I think it's produced in 1 year only again in the 70s, in 74 in the catalogue, with pipes instead of logs, and originally it had logs. And I think as well as being sold as a single operating accessory, as we see there, it was also used in the Lord Westwood set here. It's quite a number of items in that set, so I thought we'd get the Lord Westwood out again today. I know we've seen it just a few months ago, and we'll just get this group of wagons because I think it's probably a little more interesting than just that little LMS Jinty. But let's pop that to one side for a second, because we've seen enough of the 74 catalogue last week. We'll have a quick glance at the 63 catalogue, where the accessory was originally announced here. So I think I'm bashing into the camera again. So there at the bottom of the page there, we can see R.345 side tipping flat car. Available autumn 63. From what I read, it might not have shown up in 63 at all. It might not have been available in the shops till 64, and I'm unsure as to whether it really was part of the transcontinental range or just one of those models which was in a grey area but was produced after the transcontinental range sort of fizzled out of the catalogue in the mid-60s. So we'll just pop that down, and then we'll have a quick look at this set. Now I did show this, I can't remember how long ago. I picked this up at a show in Leicester, the Train Collector Society show. I'm struggling to remember how long ago that was now, but I got it there, and I think I showed it in a video, but we never really got it out of the box. So this is looks like a 1970s box to me. So there's the information on the end of the box: R.345 operating side tipping car set. So it's quite a lovely illustration there, isn't it, on the top of the box. It is a window box, but it's got a face card in there, so it's definitely got pipes rather than that 63 edition catalogue we were looking at there. It sort of looks a bit more like logs. So this is really difficult to get out of the packaging. So I'll get that out of the packaging and then we'll have a look at it. I've just taken the packaging out of the box, and we'll just have a quick glance at that wonderful illustration. So they haven't even bothered to print right to the edges of the card. I think that's a great way of perhaps saving a bit on the printing, perhaps. So there is that sort of 70s Hornby Railways window type box, and that just slides in there. So it is a rather a tight fit. So here's the piece of card. If you have a look at the insert picture, you'll be able to see how it was sort of squeezed inside the box. So we've got the packaging there and a bit of tissue to keep the pipes in place, and have a look at the other end there. Let's just ease those pipes out. Quite rattly plastic. It should make a great noise bouncing onto the layout board. I'm going to pop that down before I do drop the wagon, because it is just resting onto the cardboard packaging there. We'll have a look at it. And it is quite a fragile thing. I'm not quite sure how much aggressive play that is going to sustain, but you can see you've got this light plastic frame and these uprights, and they're all sort of articulated and they move. You've got that little mechanism in there. Can we see that? So let me. So that's going to push on the actuator. I'll get the words out. Situated next to the track, and tip those over and then drop back down again. You can see it's got plastic wheels and axles all moulded as one. That is quite a crude moulding, isn't it? So it goes back to the early 60s, this particular model. So let's just balance a couple of logs in there and have a quick look how she looks. So you've got the 3 logs piled up there. It's quite a heavy thing once you get the logs on. So I suppose if I tip that over there, they're all going to fall off like that. So I think we'll put those down while we're ahead and have a quick glance at the other items within the cardboard. So there is the actuator. So we'll just retrieve the other bits there. There's some instructions, and floating around in here somewhere, there we go, there is a little track clip to clip it to the side of the track, because it's a clip fit type accessory, so that would go in there, and then that would clip into the spaces between the track bed and the rails. But I think we'll probably just take advantage of these little screw holes and just pin it down to the baseboard. I think it'd be far easier than trying to squeeze that between the tracks. I think that is designed to go between the system 6 at a time. So my track at the moment doesn't have spaces under all the sleepers because it's just that little bit later. Quite a nice feature of this is if you didn't want to actuate the wagon, you can slide that back so the wagon can pass straight by without tipping over. I think that's quite good. And it does, we'll have a look at it when it's on the layout, but this rail here prevents the wagon from over tipping off the rail, as it were. But quite an interesting thing. So what's not quite apparent between this set and the set that we saw in the catalogue there, the 63 catalogue, is there's no collection hopper. So the earlier set had a hopper at this side to collect the logs as they came off. So here they're just going to tumble down onto the baseboard. So we'll have a swift look over the instructions, and again it's one of those tiny pieces of paper. So there we have the very basic instructions. You can have a look through that. Where it should be situated on the track there. And then a little bit more detail on the back there. Lovely illustration, I think that really is quite pretty. So there is the group of wagons that we want to collect, and I've got the Lord Westwood on the other side of the layout over here, but sadly facing the wrong direction at the moment. There she is, model number R.765 I think. Came along 73, possibly around till 75, and in this unusual set in 74. But a great demonstration, I think, of the side tipping wagon. So let's see if we can give her some power now. Let's see which direction we're running with the controller. Yeah, let's try that slowly backwards. And I'll pretend I want it to go that way. It sounds like the front bogey's off there. It is. Wasn't quite as careful as I thought when I was putting that on the rails. So let's change the direction on the controller. And she does have the chuff chuff sound, so she's quite a noisy model, and she is really very, very lively, even running on the half wave. So we just need to get a point change here, number 1R, and whether I can reach over and keep everything in shot at the same time. There we go. So let's give that a little more power. That's relatively smooth. So this sort of age of locomotives really don't mind jumping on and off this turntable at all, so there's no pickups in the tender at all. Now this is going to get noisy while we turn her around. Seems to have lined up fairly nicely. Now I'm going to remember to switch the direction on the controller. Let's have a look at that. Now we hope she'll roll off the turntable in the correct direction rather than reversing back into the Jinty that's isolated on that rail back there. Let's go for some power. Pretty good so far, so we just need to switch this one So that's number 1R again. Let's see if we can get that all in shot, and then we'll change direction again. And let's give that a little power and see if we can back around the layout and get those wagons. I was going to say coaches, but it's wagons we're after, isn't it? So I'm just going to stop that there for a second. I'm going to throw 2B, because when we come back, I want to come through here and onto that outside track, or platform 3 through the station there, so we don't run into the blue and grey coaches. So we'll continue around the layout. I'm going to swap hands with the camera. And then through the curved point backwards. Looking pretty good, and let's see if we can slow this down as we roll up to the wagons. Look at that, that looks pretty good. And then I am changing the direction on the controller, so let's ease them out of that long siding. Must get around to putting a few more in over there. Should roll straight into the station. And straight out the other side with no incident, we hope. And then keep your eyes out now as she comes through the crossover. So let's just quickly take off the wagon, and we'll have a look at it with the actuator. Let's close these up a little bit. And now we'll roll you forward. There we go. Let's sort of get that on the track and have a look, and then we'll roll it all around and have another go. For real. So let's pop that on the track. So I'll leave the wagon, not the wagons, the pipes off it for a moment. We'll just zoom in reasonably tight, and you can see what makes it work. So if I just push that through, see how that tips over, and because we're not moving, we don't have that sort of jolt which closes that down. So if I do that a little bit quicker, I'll try not to wobble so much. See how it drops back again. So if you look at these two, so I'll get that back in frame again. These two here, these go underneath this little rail here. See how that works? So that stops the wagon being pushed forwards this way. Let me zoom out now, this is far too tight. Wrong way. There we go. So that stops the whole thing being tipped off the rails like that. So you can't, the chassis won't tip off, because I think otherwise that's just going to leap off the rails each time. So let's just pop those pipes on, and we'll have a quick demonstration here. So I think if I hold the camera around here and push these through, you can watch the effect. I think with the addition of speed, when that happens really rapidly, it just jumps up and jumps back down again quite promptly. So I think if we grab all these back and let's run it around one more time and have a look. So we do need to open some points while we're doing that. So let me do that while I've currently got that in mind. So I think we're going to need that one and that crossover there. Now let's get the wagon back on. Excuse me, I'm knocking the microphone and causing crackles and stuff here. Haven't quite got that in frame. So there we go. So hopefully we've got everything set correctly. So while we're here, we've got the blue circle cement wagon. That's 72 to 76, I think, and that's model R.564. And then we've got the long-running milk tank wagon, R.15. Variations on that from 1954 to 75. Car transporter coming along in 65, running through to around 75, 74-ish. This is an earlier one. It's got the silver wheels or the chromed wheels on the cars. The later ones just had the black wheels, and then the very long-running R.016 brake van coming along in 67, 68, running right into the late 70s. It's got the slightly longer wheelbase, this one. So all the models are sort of the right group, really, for the Westwood set. Let's give this a little power. Perhaps we'll keep the camera just set this a little bit wide like it is at the moment. So away we go. And then it's going to come back through the crossover with the actuator. It does not take the power off at that point. I thought we should probably just have a swift look at this set. Now, I do happen to have the earlier Trying Railways version with this wonderful picture on the box compared to the packaging of the early 70s. This is a little bit more substantial. Imagine unwrapping this on your birthday. I think there's a little bit more to go at. Rusty Stables are a later addition, I imagine, as time moves on. But there we go. Look at that lovely Trying Railways packaging. And you can hear the contents just moving around inside the box. I don't think I've got all of the packaging that was originally in here. Probably a little bit of tissue should have been inside it. So let's pop this down and we'll just lift off the lid. We'll have a quick glance at how the earlier model looked. So we'll just pop that to one side and we'll hold that up and have a look. So there we have it. So you can see instead of pipes, we have logs. So they're solid, they're quite light. And there's the actuating device that sits next to the track. It's already got its track clip, and that would fit in the Super 4 and possibly Series 3 as well, I imagine. So it's all in grey plastic instead of brown. It still has that same function where you can slide that bit back. I'm struggling with the one hand here, so we won't at the moment. I suspect originally that clip there probably lived in this piece of card here when it originally arrived from the store. I'm going to put this down so I've got more hands available. So let's just grab those logs out of there. And this is what's missing from the later set. There's the collection hopper which would go opposite the actuating ramp, and the logs would just roll into it. I think that's quite a neat idea. So I suppose just a cost-saving thing, just not adding that piece of plastic there. And then we get instructions printed on a slightly larger piece of paper. We'll just have a glance over those. So possibly, I think they've just reused the same illustrations. So there's lots of folds in this. Paper's quite soft. There we go, and only used part of the rear side of the instruction sheet, and we've got spare parts there, look. And then at the bottom there we've got Rovex Scale Models Limited, Westwood, Margate and Kent. So it's going to pop that down, and we'll just pull out the wagon. You can see straight away it's produced in a slightly different colour. The base is still black, but we've got that sort of, is that brown or salmon pink? An unusual colour anyway. So exactly the same operating system on there. We just have a look like that. But this one has the metal bogies on it as opposed to the plastic ones, and it's definitely got open axle boxes and sleeved wheels. You can see the axles through there, so it has a little bit more weight. Let me just get rid of these pipes off here, and then we'll have a look at the two just side by side. So let's have a look there. So I think we have the same running number printed on the side, but I think it's a very similar thing. But this is definitely much lighter, having the plastic bogies on the rear there. I've decided just to change the locomotives because we seem to be having a great deal of excess speed. This locomotive just loves to charge around. She is really going for it. It always is an on and off almost locomotive. Even on the half wave, she likes a bit more weight behind her, I think, and she just keeps charging away with what is probably quite a light load there. So let's get this Jinty, which is pictured in that 74 catalogue with this side tipping wagon. So we'll give it a go. It's a little bit more lower geared, I think, and we'll have a bit more control over it. Let's get that on the track. So I know we just had this out the other day, but then again, they are toy trains and they're always nice to use. So let's see if we can back this up, which way we're going to go with that. Yeah, so we can get a great deal more control out of that. There we go. And then let's see if we can follow her around. I'm going to zoom in a little so we can get a slightly better look as we unload the pipes when we get around the layout now. Away we go. So that's a little bit more sedate. She is running on the half wave there, which makes her a little noisier. And let's keep an eye on those pipes. Oh, one of them rolled away, didn't it? So that is definitely a bit more sedate, isn't it? So let's bring that all the way back round, and we'll bring her to a gentle stop, I think. And again, we'll just reload the wagon. I think we'll have one more go. We'll take her off half wave and see how she performs with that. So I've got the smoking element in here as well, but we're not going to be running quick enough for that. Let's give that another go. So she's running a bit quieter now, just that little bit of vibration from the bodywork on the chassis there. Through the point work, that blue Pullman looking great in the siding there. And again, let's just keep an eye on that. We'll see if we can get in a bit tighter as we come around. Now that one pipe really rolls away, doesn't it? So I think you could have had great fun with this. And I suppose you could have had it at the end of a siding and reverse up gently. But that might take all the fun out of it, to be honest. I've just got the old P5 setup here, and the Trying Railways version of the side tipping car unit. And it's just a little bit further down the rails there. I've got the Jinty unhooked and on the outside line ready to come around, and it seems silly not to just have a go with it nice and slowly up to here, and let's see if we can stop it before we run into the buffers perhaps. So let's give this a little power and see how we go, and keep an eye on it in the background there. Obviously the wrong direction. Under the bridge, onto the spur, and onto the long siding. I'm going to just slow that down. In fact, I'm going to stop that, and we'll come to this side and see if we can have a better look. So here we go. Let's back that up really slowly now. And there we have it, all nice and neat in there. I think that's probably it for this week. Thanks again for watching, really is hugely appreciated. Now, I did have a go with both wagons together, and what tends to happen is they sort of pile up on each other in here, and they get caught on these, so I decided not to have a go. I suppose I could have had a go with both wagons together on the track over here, but these sleeved wheels on this wagon do tend to bounce a little through the point work, so I think it was better off just trying it here. Let's just roll forwards a little and just have one look at something here before we go. Let's see if we get this the correct direction. There we go. So we've got this nice little actuator here. I'm not sure whether I pointed out earlier that this bit slides. Let's see if we can slide that backwards. There we go. So now when I roll the wagon back through, it won't tip the wagon, so you could leave it set up on the layout. See, that's quite a nice little feature designed into that, isn't it? But thanks again for watching. It really is hugely appreciated. And if you look back again next time, we'll have something else interesting from the range to have a look at. Goodbye now.